When the UFC signed Gable Steveson, many fans immediately brought up the sexual assault allegations that have followed him since 2019. So let's go through exactly what happened and, just as importantly, what the legal outcome actually was. Back in June of 2019, while attending the University of Minnesota, Gable Steveson and his teammate Dylan Martinez were arrested after a woman reported that she had been sexually assaulted. Both men were investigated on suspicion of criminal sexual conduct, and the case quickly became one of the most talked about stories in collegiate wrestling. However, being arrested is not exactly the same as being charged with a crime, and in this case, the situation gets very interesting. Following the arrests, both Steveson and Martinez were released while investigators continued to review the evidence. Several months later, in December of 2019, the county attorney's office announced that it would not file criminal charges against either wrestler because at the time, here's the catch, Minnesota law contained a provision that limited prosecutors' ability to pursue certain sexual assault cases involving an intoxicated complainant under specific circumstances. Prosecutors pointed to both the lack of sufficient evidence and limitations, especially the limitations of the law, as reasons they could not move forward with criminal charges. That legal provision sparked widespread public criticism. Many argued that it created a loophole that made certain sexual assault cases more difficult to prosecute. And in response to the public reaction, Minnesota lawmakers literally later changed this law, amending to close part of what critics had identified as a loophole. Gable Steveson made a state change the law. This guy is a fucking piece of shit and should be in prison instead of fighting on the biggest stage. I truly hope he gets knocked out by the jobber this weekend. If not, next weekend. And if not, I hope Walter Walker snatches his foot and breaks it. Fuck him. Next up, we're going to talk about Gable Stevenson's coach, his idol, and the person he looked up to the most, Jon Diddy Booty Jones. Everybody knows who Jon Jones is, but we're just gonna do a little breakdown on what happened and his many offenses. On September 24, 2021, only a day after Jon Jones was inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame for his fight against Alexander Gustafsson, Las Vegas police responded to a domestic disturbance call at the Caesars Palace. According to police report, hotel security contacted authorities after Jones's youngest daughter approached him. His youngest daughter approached him asking for help and said that there was a domestic incident involving her parents. When officers arrived, Jon Jones had already left the hotel, but police located and detained him nearby, while other officers went to speak with his longtime fiancée, Jessie Moses. When officers met with Moses, they observed blood on her face and clothing, along with swelling on one of her lips. According to the police report, Moses told officers that Jones had gone out drinking with friends earlier in the night, and when he returned to the hotel, she said he had become upset and pulled her by the hair as she was trying to leave the room. She also told police that the hair pulling was the extent of the physical contact between them and said that the blood on her face and clothing came from her own chapped lips. The police report also states that the hotel security observed Moses crying and unwilling to return to the room. Security personnel reported that one of the couple's children asked them to call the police. These details became public several days after the arrest when the report was released through a public records request. Meanwhile, officers who detained Jon Jones described him as heavily intoxicated. Is anybody surprised? According to the arrest report, Jones allegedly became emotional, threatened legal action against officers, and repeatedly struck his own head against the hood of a police vehicle. I'm sure a lot of people has seen the clip, causing visible damage. That incident led to an additional felony charge for injuring or tampering with police vehicle. Initially, Jones was arrested on suspicion of misdemeanor domestic battery and felony vehicle tampering. However, the legal outcome was different from the initial arrest. In December 2021, prosecutors somehow dismissed the domestic battery charge as part of a plea agreement. And following the incident, Jones repeatedly and publicly denied hitting his fiancée. He stated that he never hit Jessie and said that the incident convinced him that he needed to stop drinking alcohol. Wow, what an improvement. I truly pray for his wife Jessie and his family. Hope they can figure out a way to take all his assets and get away from him. Fuck Jon Jones. We all hate Jon Jones. If you don't hate Jon Jones, get the fuck out of my channel. My all 24 subscribers. Thank you guys. Anyways, last but not least, we have the main event of this weekend. The notorious Conor McGregor, which his nickname really tells a story this time. Conor McGregor, as you all may know, is one of the biggest stars in combat sports history. But over the past several years, his legacy has become increasingly overshadowed by a series, yes, I said series, of sexual assault allegations. Some of these cases never resulted in criminal charges, while one ultimately resulted in a civil court finding McGregor was liable for sexually assaulting a woman. Here's a complete timeline. So the first and most significant case dates back to December of 2018. According to court filings, a woman named Nikita Hand alleged that she met Conor McGregor after a Christmas party in Dublin, Ireland, before accompanying him and others to a hotel. Hand claimed that once inside the penthouse suite, McGregor violently sexually assaulted her, leaving her with extensive bruising and other injuries that were documented during a medical examination. McGregor denied the allegations from the very beginning, maintaining that the sexual encounter was entirely consensual. Irish police conducted a lengthy criminal investigation, but prosecutors ultimately decided not to bring criminal charges, stating that there was insufficient evidence to secure a conviction beyond a reasonable doubt. That meant McGregor was never criminally prosecuted in connection with the incident. However, the story did not end here. In 2021, Nikita Hand filed a civil lawsuit seeking damages against Conor McGregor. Unlike a criminal trial, which requires proof beyond a reasonable doubt, civil cases are decided using a lower legal standard known as the balance of probabilities. In November 2024, after hearing the evidence, the Irish civil jury found that McGregor had sexually assaulted Hand and held him accountable and liable for damages. The jury awarded her compensation and McGregor appealed the decision. In July 2025, that appeal was dismissed, leaving the civil verdict in place. McGregor had consistently denied the allegation and continues to maintain that the encounter was consensual. While that civil case was unfolding, another allegation surfaced. In October 2019, Irish police investigated a separate allegation that McGregor had sexually assaulted a woman inside a vehicle in Dublin. Authorities questioned that McGregor during the investigation, but prosecutors did not bring criminal charges, and the case did not proceed to trial. McGregor denied wrongdoing. And the next major allegation came during the 2023 NBA Finals. On June 9th, 2023, a woman alleged that Conor McGregor sexually assaulted her inside a restroom at the Kaseya Center in Miami following Game 4 between the Miami Heat and the Denver Nuggets. According to her account, she was led towards the men's bathroom by members of McGregor's entourage, where she alleged that he attempted to force sexual acts without her consent. McGregor denied the allegation through his representatives. Miami police investigated the complaint, but in October 2023, prosecutors announced that no criminal charges would be filed after determining there was insufficient evidence to prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt. But this wasn't the end of the Miami case either. In January 2025, the same woman filed a civil lawsuit against McGregor another time, as well as the Miami Heat organization and the company operating the arena. The lawsuit alleged sexual assault and negligence, claiming arena staff failed to adequately protect her. McGregor again continues to deny the allegation. There's also another incident that is sometimes mentioned alongside these cases, although it is different in nature. In 2023, reports emerged that a woman accused Conor McGregor of physically assaulting her aboard his yacht during a party in Ibiza in 2022. The woman alleged that she was punched and kicked before escaping by jumping from the yacht. While allegations were investigated and received insignificant media attention, the concerned alleged physical assault rather than sexual assault, and no criminal charges were filed against McGregor in that matter. So to summarize, Conor McGregor had faced multiple sexual assault allegations over the past several years, not that many years. The 2018 Dublin case resulted in no criminal charges, but it later led to a civil trial where the jury found McGregor liable for sexual assaulting Nikita Han and awarded her damages. That civil finding remains in place after his appeal was unsuccessful, which is a very bad look. The 2019 Dublin allegation was investigated, but did not result in criminal charges. The 2023 Miami allegation resulted in a criminal investigation that ended without charges. McGregor, of course, has denied the allegations in that case as well. These cases have had a major impact in McGregor's public image and are frequently discussed whenever his fighting career returns in the spotlight, like as of right now. At the same time, it is important to distinguish between criminal proceedings while prosecutors decline to bring charges in these cases and civil proceedings, where different legal standards apply. Today, the only case in which McGregor had been held legally responsible in 2018 is the 2018 Dublin incident, where the Irish civil jury found him liable for sexual assault. However, to have this many allegations against him, it would be stupid to even think of defending him. He's a fucking monster in the end of the day as well, and he does not deserve to win this Saturday night. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. It will help me a lot, and peace.